Okay, we got the dye done. And the way I did it, right, if you really gotta know, it's pretty simple. I take my dye bottle, shake it up real good. It's about the consistency of water. Stick my dauber in there, and then make big swirlies, and then I make straight lines. And that's about it for the front and the back. No big deal. I didn't get it on video because, well, as far as I'm concerned, there's no big deal to dye in leather. It's pretty simple. A lot of people try to overthink it and make it seem a lot more complicated than it really is. Oh, who are you looking at? Anyway, I gave the dye a couple of days to dry. After one day, I checked it and it still wasn't quite dry enough to do anything with it, but it's dry enough now. Now, we're going to go ahead and buff it. So, let me get this junk out of the way. I got a little section over here where it goes. And I got my little buffing cloth. So, buffing it is just basically, you want to remove the excess dye. And there you go, a piece of dyed leather. So anyway, now the next step in making this thing is going to be gluing it. And that's where these skived edges come in. I want to make sure I get a good overlap, or I should say a proper overlap on that. Actually, I don't need this glove anymore. I just put the glove on to show you that I held this in the gloved hand, manipulated it with the gloved hand, and then I used the dauber with the non-gloved hand. Because the idea was to not get any dye on this hand. Oh, excuse me. That was a glove. There we go. Ah, I'm missing a finger. Now I'll get that later. So anyway, like I said, it's time to do some gluing on it. I got my glue here, and let me get set up for that, and we'll be right back. The glue I use is contact cement. This is just Tanner's Bond contact cement. Good stuff. Using with for gluing leather. What it does give a good strong bond, but you need more than just the glue to hold it together. I don't shake this. That would get messy. Now one of the reasons I like to use contact cement as opposed to other types of glues is you don't get any squeeze out. Like back when I used to do woodworking and I would do a glue up with boards, I would use a wood glue, obviously. And the problem with that, well, I guess this isn't really a problem. You would get some squeeze out. No biggie, scrape it, sand it, good as new. But with is that side? With leather, you just can't do that. Now, even though on some of my other videos, you'll see where I use a sander, either a belt sander or a drum sander or something to sand edges. That's not the same kind of thing. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for a little while. I can't really put this down right now. So what I'm going to do is stick it in my clamp. Let's see if I can get that. And just hold it there, let it dry, it'll get tacky, and then you can just stick the two sides together. I've given that a few minutes to dry, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or so. And the idea is you don't want it wet and squishy, you just want it a little bit tacky. Tacky, tacky, tacky. So what I'm going to do is what I should have done before I started the camera. I'm actually just going to use clothespins on it. Reach to my scraps over here. That'll work. And just fold this around. Carefully align it. It's very tacky and it'll stick to itself readily. So you need to be sure you've got it the way you want it. And then you mash it down. And that'll be where the two pieces are going to stick together. Now I am going to trim this to fit right there. I can just use this. Doesn't have to be perfect. And that'll go right there. Right there. Put a clothespin on this end. And a clothespin on that end. And that will actually be enough to hold this while it dries. And now, again, mash down a little. I'm going to leave it set overnight. And that's that for now. Once that dries, I can go ahead, use my awl, punch those stitch holes, and then stitch these pieces together. It's going to be kind of a tricky job. I don't really have a way to hold this in a clamp or anything, so I'm just going to have to do it freehand, I guess you can call it. Then you got to turn the needles, put them in straight, and then turn them and get them out the side. It's kind of like stitching a really wide belt keeper. But then again, some people just use staples and glue, which I don't agree with. I don't like that. That's not only lazy, but I just consider that, well, lazy and just not the proper way to do it. Anyway, we'll come back, we'll put some stitches in that, and then I'm going to take a hunk of 9-ounce, which is a thicker leather, and make the plug for the bottom of it. I can use this piece, this existing piece here, kind of piece it together. I might tack that together with some contact cement just to get that contour. But the problem is, this section's missing. It would have gone there, but it got shot out. So I'm just going to use this as a pattern to start it. But that needs to be stitched together first, so that'll be the next step.